All right, it is 6:33, so we're going to get started for today. I am recording this session, so just as some housekeeping, you are all here as attendees in a webinar. So later during the session, I'll stop the recording, and if anybody has questions, then I'll let you unmute and you can ask away. During the session, I'd love for you to post any questions in the chat that may come up, so you can go ahead and answer those. And then I have 3 students here helping moderate the chat, and they are our resident experts, and they will help with anything that may be needed related to kind of questions about coming back to school. Oh, I see one more as panelist. Sam, I'm moving you over. And so they'll moderate the chat, and we have a really fun agenda for you today. So we're going to get to know you, tell you some ins and outs of what it means to be a new student. So we'll get started. Okay, so up first, I'm Jamie Lusader, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer for the school district. And I was a new student myself so many times. I went to a new school almost every year in elementary. And then I landed here in 8th grade, so excited to I think be in what I was going to be my final school, and I stayed all the way through high school. So I was super excited to make LCHS my home, the one place that I was in school the longest my whole life. So that was pretty great. So I am a super fan of our school district, and we hope to take care of all of our new students. So I'm glad you guys are here to learn a little bit more. Sam and Cole, thank you so much for joining. Will you guys introduce yourselves really quickly?
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Cole. I'm going to be a senior this year, and I am one of the officers for Tech Council, which is kind of a program that we get to have where it's a collaborative kind of project where everyone kind of gets to voice their opinion on different tech-related issues and really anything that's concerning the school. So we do have a lot of changes coming.
My name is Sam Shrinsky. I'm also going to be a senior. And I think Cole summed up pretty well what Tech Council is. We just take the opinions of students and ourselves and we bring it to the attention of some of the administrators. So yeah, I'm really glad to be helping introduce all of you guys to the district.
Thank you so much. And I know a couple other students are here. They're just off camera ready to help moderate with the chat. So know that any questions that come up, we're ready to help. Okay, so our agenda for tonight, let me share my screen, tell you what we're going to go over. One thing I want to make sure you all have in place before you leave tonight, if you have not gotten your school email address, and I know some of you are waiting for me to send that out. So I mean that you can get those tonight. So if you would like to get your school email address tonight and get logged in and start looking at all of that stuff, will you just post a message in the chat with your name, and then Cole will direct message you back your email address and password. So we'll make sure you all get in. And taking a look at the chat just quickly, I see Diane was asking about how long the session is. We have it timed at about an hour, like leaving time for Q&A. So hopefully I'll go over the main content quickly and then leave time for the beginning. So Cole, if you're okay moderating the chat and messaging people their
Sure.
kids' email addresses, that'd be awesome. And then for the students that are getting their email addresses, there is an email waiting for you from me, should be in your inbox once you sign in and go to Gmail to tell you how to change your password. And I'll go over that again in just a few minutes too. Okay, so making sure you all have the doc. Let me post this in the chat if you want to follow along, or you can just look at my screen. Let me make this a tiny bit bigger to accommodate everybody's needs. And then audience members, if this view isn't right for you, there is a control. If your screen just kind of took over your whole computer screen, you can hit the escape button and kind of manage your screen again, because by default, when you share screens in Zoom, it takes over your computer. So if you hit escape, you'll get some of your controls back. And then you might see a place to kind of adjust the size of the screen that I'm sharing. So you can make it smaller, you can make it bigger. So just know you should see those controls in Zoom. All right, so what we want to cover for you is what some of you are working on right now, getting your school password. So Cole is sending those out to anybody that's requesting them. Parents, if you're on, and if you have a student in a younger grade, so let's say 4th grade and younger, I didn't share those with Cole because I need to send you a special password. So that is top of the agenda for tomorrow, that I'm going to get those out to any families of students in 4th grade or younger. So just know he's handing out anybody that's 5th grade and higher, and the rest I'm going to email out to you. So once you get your count, your school Google account holds lots of power. So this is going to be the key to access all the things related to school. So this is going to get you to your school textbooks. It's going to be how you communicate with your teachers. We have email addresses for all students, but not until 3rd grade do you actually use email. Just for our younger students, it's just a way to get to their textbooks and their school stuff. But email really doesn't turn on until 3rd grade, after we have time to do some training, and nobody needs to start email that young. It's a lot to manage. So we want to keep that in check for a while. Once you get your account, you're going to go to this website. This is our portal to change your password. So you can go right here and change your password. So those of you who are getting your account, you want to get your password right here. And the Cole, are you also telling them the password? No, let me tell them.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so I'll post it in the chat for you. The default password to change it is just Google123. So everybody has that password to start. And once you enter in, so I'll demo for you. If I was, let's say this was my student account and I typed this in, and then you type in the current password, which is Google123, then you type in the password you want it to be, and then you'll hit reset password and you should be all set. So go through that process to update your passwords. And this you can do anytime. So students, we recommend, if you're in elementary school, you should definitely share your password with your parents and family. It's important that you have a backup system. So, if you forget your password, they know it, or it's really good to help each other out. Maybe there's something you want them to look at for you. So sharing your password is totally fine when you're in elementary school. 7th grade and up, of course, still fine to share passwords with your family, but you really want to work on creating a secure password. So that we still recommend you can share it, but again, start to have a password that's really secure. And if you feel like something happened, like maybe you accidentally shared your password with a friend or somebody guessed it, you can go here and change your password anytime. So we want to make sure you know that this portal is always open if you need to adjust your password. All right, next bit of tech that is super important is using a Chromebook. So we are a Chromebook district, so students grades 5 and up will need to be bringing a Chromebook to school. And if you're unable to buy one, or if you just heard this for the first time and you're thinking, what's going on? I need a Chromebook, we can loan one to you until you're able to get one yourself. Or if you need to borrow one for the whole year, that's totally fine. Most families are able to get one, but we know that's not all families. So we definitely support loaning one out if you need it. If you are a student, let me check our poll to see if we have, oh, great. Yeah. So we have a couple juniors and seniors. So even though I'm recording this and I'm going on air saying it, if you have something else at home, most of the time it's okay. I don't want you to, if you have a Mac that you love, I don't want you to rush out and buy a Chromebook. You can definitely just borrow something. Some teachers are a little more strict about having Chromebooks. Some are not as strict when you get to 11th and 12th grade. So just feel it out, see how the first couple days of school go and what your teachers are thinking. Most of the time, they say, go get a Chromebook from the, tech lab, that's okay. Or sometimes they're like, it's fine, just bring what you have. We typically encourage everybody to have a Chromebook, but we're not as strict at the upper levels just because we know you guys are getting ready to leave and go off to college. And we don't want you to have to, spend money if you already have something good. So just know that that's the case. And then the other part that is really, really kind of the glue for having your account is using Classlink. So Cole or Sam, do you want to either of you tell the attendees a little bit about what Classlink is?
I think we both unmuted at the same time.
Yeah.
Who unmuted first? That's the game.
Okay, so I can talk a little bit about it.
Please.
Personally, I haven't used it too much, but when I did use it, it was really useful. It's a little link. It's like a sort of a hub for a bunch of your textbooks. I used it a lot for my math class, I think in 10th grade. But you can access the textbook online. So in class, instead of having to bring your textbook to class and like go back and forth from your locker class to class, you just get to access it online. It makes it a lot easier for in-class textbook work.
Perfect.
And
That was a great way to sum it up. Yeah, that's awesome. So Classlink is just this digital backpack. It's a hub for all your stuff. And depending on your grade level, you have different things in here. All students have links to all of their Google things. And then depending on your grade level, so obviously you wouldn't have an admin one, but students 8th grade and below have a STEM Scopes app for their science. You'll have different ones for instruction. You see, I have this folder here. So if you're in younger grades, you might have IXL for math practice. You'll have Think Central for your English language arts work. If you are in the younger grades, like K and 1, you'll use National Geographic for your science. So there's a bunch of different ones, but this is all determined by your grade level. And these should be going live to students on Friday. So after all of the rostering and everything is released on Thursday for elementary, the system syncs overnight and you'll have access to all of your tools if it all works. There's always a few bugs we have to fix quickly, but within the first week of school, it should be that you have access to all of your things, and your teachers will tell you which ones to use and all of that. But I wanted to show you that to get here, if you go to your school website or any of our school websites, up here in the corner, we have this Classlink button, and that's what you'll click to get right to Classlink. So that's the app there for you. Okay, this part I think is pretty great, but I wanted to pause for 1 second and do an activity with everybody. So I'm going to post a link in the chat for all of you. And I would love for you to click on this. You may have to type it in or copy and paste. And I'd love to get to know all of you a little bit more. So this is called Virtual Best Friends. So students who are panelists, can you guys join also? So what I want you to do is, this is one of my favorite tech tools called Padlet. This is something you'll see in some of your classes. And this is going to be kind of like our "Hi, my name is" sticker. So if you think about that, like you might have seen that on TV or done that yourself at meetings back when, you know, we would meet in person. Please add a sticker. And to do this, you just click on the plus button. And you can write, "Hi, my name is," and then put your name. And then down here, type in something about yourself. So just anything that you think is interesting to share. And this could be interests, hobbies, aspirations. You can read mine as an example, but just tell us a few things so we can get to know you. I'm gonna give everybody a couple minutes for that while I look over the chat. Hi, Brooks. Thanks for posting that. I'd love to know what video games you play. I was playing Mario Kart with one of my nephews over the weekend, and we discovered that the only way, and I feel like I'm a Mario Kart champion, but he's really good. The only way we can beat him is computers off, turning on shells only. And there was a few courses I totally won. So it was a pretty great thing. I'd love to know what video games you like to play. Thank you, Surenda. That's awesome. Nice to hear. And I'm wondering about your work as a climate scientist. Are you studying or working on some of the projects that have been going up to Mars and things like that, and studying the climate there in conjunction to what we can learn about Earth? I'd love to know more about that. That's so cool. Bobby, thank you so much. That's awesome. Oh, hiking. Excellent. We're virtual best friends. We found something in common. So cool. Oh, thanks, Brooks, if you put your video games up there. Yeah, Zelda is oh, I see your name now. Zelda is excellent. One of my favorites. Hey, Liam. Oh, super cool. I just built like a Lego kit with my little niece. We got one of the Harry Potter kids. She's 5. It was rated for 8 and above, which we should have paid attention to because it was hard for a 5-year-old to build some of that. The 3-headed dog was a challenge, but really, really cool. That's awesome. So what I hope you're seeing here is that this is a tool that some teachers can use to allow all students to have a voice and be more connected. And this is what we're really encouraging for this school year is so whether you're a brand new student or some of our students who've been here for a while, they haven't been on campus for a year and a half because some chose to stay home all throughout a distance learning last year while some students came back. So we're going to have people all over the place like looking to make friends. So new students, you're not going to stick out as the shiny new toy. There are a lot of people coming back to school for the first time after a while. So we're encouraging our teachers to do activities like this to really get to know you. And then what's super cool is now that I'm becoming virtual best friends with a lot of you, if I was teaching, I would know things to talk to you about in class and maybe make class kind of fun for you. So really cool. Alan, thanks for posting about piano and soccer. I've always wanted to learn to play piano. I practiced a little bit and have learned to read a little bit of music, but definitely something I'd like to spend more time on. Oh, Sam, you figured out colors. Good job. Yes. Way to level up your post. Oh, Aram, good job. You figured it out too. Great. Okay, so that's Padlet. I just wanted you to see an example of some things that you might be doing. Oh, good job, Grace. You might be doing in class with your teachers. And again, this is a way that we can get to know everybody, but also everybody has a voice, can share an answer. So we use a lot of tech tools at LCUSD, and we try to make sure they're exciting and fun for kids and also add a lot of value. So you'll see more of that. Okay, so now that we've gotten to know each other a little bit, students that are on the panel with me, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about these tips for success. Can you just pick your favorites or things that you feel like have been helpful while you've been here that you think, are the things our new students should know?
You can go first this time.
Okay. I was reading, what we're looking at for the Google tools. So I would say for Google Drive, I do this at the beginning of each year. I make a folder for all my different classes. So one class would have each folder. And then because we are now using Google Docs for a lot of different assignments, and we're using Google Drive to store most of the assignments now, it provides a much easier way to organize different assignments and any other really related resources or materials that you would need for class, rather than having it just kind of this one organized mess in Google Drive where you're constantly trying to scroll and try to find something that you maybe worked on like the last week. But because you're working on so many different things, it's getting jumbled really quickly. So definitely keeping good organization with Google Drive really saves time and definitely helps you overall.
And for me, unfortunately, I only discovered it over this past year. But the to-do on Google Classroom is probably like the biggest lifesaver. It's on Google Classroom. I haven't been on it over the summer, unfortunately, but there's a to-do tab.
No, fortunately, that's good that you took a break.
On Google Classroom, above where all your classes are in the left-hand corner, there's a to-do, and it just shows a list of everything that's coming up. It has no due date, what's due this week, next week, and then later. And no matter what, even if it's, so no due date. Usually sometimes teachers are able to, put in an assignment that they'll say in class, oh, this is due Tuesday, but it won't say due Tuesday in classroom. Fortunately, on To-Do, it shows right up at the top so you don't forget it. And it just breaks down all the assignments for all the different classes really nicely. And it's just definitely useful in organizing what's due in class.
And I think that's a super tip, and perhaps we can resend that out to students once they're all enrolled in their classes, and we can show them, because you're not going to want to remember that one, even though it's spectacular. But it's just right here. So once you get into your Google Classroom, you could just click here and then you see I'm in the to-do section and here's all the stuff, for example, that I'd have to make up out of this demo class. That's a great one. Thank you. Any others that you find compelling?
And also, I think a lot of the people in this orientation are in the younger, coming in at a younger like grade level, but definitely for when you start like approaching older grades, email and emailing teachers for help is super useful. So email is also very valuable because teachers usually respond very quickly.
And I'd love to add on to that, that there is extreme value and return on investment if you email politely and with proper grammar and ask clearly what you need. So that can go a long way, because teachers get a lot of email. And when you come across politely and write it in a way that shows you're being thoughtful, it can make a huge difference on the receptivity of the teacher. So for example, if you just said, all you wrote in the email was, my assignment's not graded, when are you going to grade it? And then hit send. That's a fine text message if you knew the teacher really, really well, but still might not be completely appropriate. So again, dear Mrs. Lusader, I was checking my grades last week. I noticed that assignment that I gave you on Wednesday wasn't in yet. Do you need anything else from me? I'm just checking in. And that's really non-confrontational, and teachers would be receptive versus something that feels a little less professional. So just a quick tip about that, and that good things will happen with proper email. All right, the other thing for our students who are in 7th through 12th grade, this is amazing. So we have a group of students who are coders, and they've created an app called LCHS Go. And this is really, really important. So when I click up here, you see I have these extensions up here. When I click on this, because I have this installed in my Chrome browser, this is the bell schedule. So they're getting ready. It's still showing summer school. They've been on vacation, so they'll update it before next week. But how it works is, again, for 7th through 12th grade, we had it all grade levels last year because of virtual learning. So we wanted to make sure everybody could see their bell schedule because there was a lot going on. But pretty much you select your grade level. So I know we have, hold on, let me check on my virtual best friend. Somebody said, oh yeah, Supriya is an 8th grader, or we have a 9th grader. Who is our 9th grade friend? Liam. Okay, so either of you would check on here. Let me go back to this one. You'd go here and you'd pick your grade level and you'd say, okay, I'm a 9th grader. And then this would tell you exactly what class you're in, how many minutes are left in the class, and what time it is. You can also click on bell schedule, and then you'd see the bell schedule. And super great, because we're a block schedule, which will start, again, this is 7th through 12th grade. We'll start a couple weeks after school gets going. Sometimes it's confusing, like what is going on for that day. You can skip ahead and see the schedule. You also can, update some notifications or colors. Like they have a lot of fun kind of making all of that work. So that is LCH Go. And this is linked here for you to install it. If you have a phone, so older students, you can go to, let me write it here so you
Looks
can
like
find
this. I don't know if you guys can see. It's pretty easy to pull open.
Yes, that's
on your
it. Yeah.
phone. It's really nice to have.
So go.lciteam.club on the phone. If you go there, you can save it as an app. So you just pull that up, and then you click the little share button, kind of the box with the up arrow, and then scroll a little bit and it'll say add to home screen. And it's quite amazing. You will also be sending this out again and again. So again, you don't have to really worry about remembering that now. Don't worry about the bell schedule yet. That's for next week. But this is a really cool tool that we have for our older students. All right, so those are our tips for success. I would love to make sure you know basics of our website. So let me share those. And again, any questions thanks Liam for that question. Let me repost the document for you here. And if anybody is interested in working with the iTeam on the app, you don't have to be an experienced coder. Even if you just have ideas, we could use help with things like marketing, making tutorials. If you could even analyze it and say you have a better idea, even if you wouldn't know how to do it, they'd be open to helping make it happen. And they might even be open to teaching you a little bit about how it works. So if you would love to be involved in that, please email me because I will connect you with the iTeam. They meet at the high school and work on really cool projects. The current project right now just happens to be the Go extension. All right, so websites. So these are all of our websites. We follow a similar naming convention. So it's usually the school initials and then their mascot. So LCHSspartans.net for our 9th through 12th graders, LCHS78.net, middle schoolers are your junior Spartans, which I suppose is the mascot, but we don't really have one. So your LCHS78.net, which means you get the shortest URL. And I think that's pretty cool. PCRpanthers.net, LCElions.net, and PCYcougars.net. So these might still be new to you. So if you're PCY, that's Paradise Canyon. LCE is La Cañada Elementary. PCR is Palmcrest, and then our middle school, high school campus. So for example, if I click on PCY Cougars, all the websites have the exact same layout. So you'll notice no matter which one you go to, you'll find all of these buttons up here that help you get to things. Classlink is really that hub to get you wherever you're going to go, but you can also shortcut it by clicking here to get to Google Classroom. Illuminate is used for assessments for our students in kind of starting in 3rd grade and up. You might go to Illuminate to take a test. Google Classroom for 2nd grade and up. You can get to your mail, you can get to Drive, all of those here. So live here. So again, if no matter what website I go to, and they're all linked here, if I switch over to Palmcrest, you'll see it's very similar, same things across the top. And parents, anybody that's listening, you have your own portal here. And this is where you can link to all the things that are related to kind of managing school with your kids. Students, you also have your own, a few things on here, but we really direct you mostly through Classlink, but we have a couple things on here just as extras, and those are there for you. So again, any website you go to, this top bar has a lot for you. And then back on home, another important thing is our upcoming events. So this calendar stays pretty current, and it is actually, let me see if I can find it correctly. Yeah, this is where you can turn on either the district calendar to kind of see it at the same time, and you'll see the colors change. But super cool, students, if you want, you can hit subscribe. Parents also, you can hit subscribe, and then you can add it to your Google Calendar or your iCal or your Outlook. And that way you have access to the digital calendar on your own calendar. So that's kind of cool. So that's the subscribe button. And to get there again, I went to the homepage. I went here to the calendar, and I think I clicked on show all events. I always forget which one. Yeah, show all events, and then subscribe, and you'll follow the directions there. And then that will give you all the school stuff on your calendar itself, so you can follow along with everything.
Hey, Ms. Lustetter, I've been seeing a few questions related to this one. They're asking about changing the password. I believe there is a site on the LCUSD site that you have to change the Google account password through. You can't change it normally. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, you have to go to this. Let me post it. It's on the doc, but let me post it in the chat. And then if it isn't working at the end, I can reset it for anybody that got stuck. So thanks for that question, Diana. Thanks for stopping me, Cole. That's awesome. Yeah, so Diana, if you're able to go to that website, you should be able to change the password started at Google 123, all lowercase. And if that doesn't work, post another message. Oh, you did. Okay. So as soon as we get a little bit towards the end, I'll reset it for you and we'll get it working. Or I might have one of the kids chat for a minute. I'll do it for you while they're talking. Other thing that I think is really important on the website is we post news here. So you might just see updates and everything. A lot of these match what principals are sending. So you'll see copies here. And then there are also links to the PTA website. We try to put as much as possible in those few places for you. So you can find everything on the website. Let's see what else I have. As a tour, student section, calendar, getting help. Okay, yeah. One more important thing on the website is getting help. So if you're at one of the school websites, I'm sorry about that. We have this tech help button here. You can click on this at any time. It's help.lcusd.net, or you can just click on the link And we have tons of things on here related to technology help, but you can also just submit a request, tell us what you need, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So our policy is, hopefully within 12 to 24 hours, you'll get an acknowledgement of receipt. Usually we're much faster than that. We solve your problems. We try to be super fast before school starts. So if anything's not working or if you have questions, post a request here in our ticketing system and we'll get right back to you. And this is open all year long. So students, we encourage you to use it too. Parents, you can use it. This is a great way to get help on anything that you might need. So that's help.lcusd.net. Also linked here on the document, but also on the websites. Okay, I will let Cole and Sam take over. And Enzo, I know you're here. I can't find the button to re-enable the camera. I think it was on already. So you can also just unmute and talk. So just everyone know if there's a floating voice, that's Enzo. He's also here helping. I'd love for you guys to talk a little bit about some of this insider advice. What would be some things you'd share with students that you think would help with them kind of transitioning to LCHS while I reset the password for Diana? Oh, Sam won that time.
I think getting to know your teachers is probably the most important thing, or at least it's definitely up in it's there. So it's definitely very important. But getting to know your teachers, especially early in the year, they might be more willing later in the year to, round up your grade or, give you a little bit of extra credit if you need it. And it also just makes for a more enjoyable class experience when you're sort of good acquaintances with your teacher. It's a little bit less stressful, and if there's an adult that you're comfortable with at school, it makes it a better atmosphere.
I would say I'm looking at a bunch of the email addresses, so I'm seeing the numbers are higher. So we have a lot of incoming 7-8 students on here. So I think the best advice for you guys would be to build good habits in the beginning of the year. I mean, these are ones that you're going to keep till the end of high school. So if you're really staying on top of your assignments and not really waiting for stuff to be due at last seconds, like keeping a planner or other tool to track these, it's really building good skills to have, especially when your workload increases for later in the year and as you go up to your next grade. So really building those good habits provides a strong foundation.
RM, that's totally fine. If you'll just wait 10 minutes, we'll be done with our programming, maybe even sooner, and I'll stop recording and then you can answer your question. I just want to make sure we protect everybody's identity, so if we don't post anything that you'd be uncomfortable with. So we'll stop the recording in just a few minutes and you can. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, great. Diana, I wasn't fast enough. So as soon as we stop, I promise just give me a couple minutes and I'll get it done. Let me take a look at the list and see if there's anything that I think is important. There are some really cool tools on how to keep track of your assignments. So parents and younger students, having a space at the house where you just write down what's due can be really important, something visible for everybody so you can kind of keep track of things together. Teachers like to set up a lot of routines. So you might have things happening on the same days each week, or you could have projects that last a little longer and you might need to kind of block out that due date. So that's important to kind of keep a track of. Google Keep is a really cool tool that all of our students have access to, where you can list things that are coming up and kind of make a checklist. And then you can also share that with someone. So students, you could create a Google Keep list, and during the day, as you get assignments, you can add it to Google Keep. And then your parents could also have a copy if that's a good system for you to have somebody to kind of help you and have oversight. That's one idea. Most of the assignments and things like that, the teachers were really good last year about putting in Google Classroom. We have that agreement again this year for teachers to use that, because we just want to be ready in case we have to quarantine or shut down or whatever happens. We hope not, right? We want to stay open and keep all kids in school, but it's likely that we could have a, just a temporary quarantine for a few students, things like that. So keeping track of your assignments, Google Classroom will be used by a lot of the teachers again this year. So that'll be helpful to kind of track things. And one for me, I think, and this takes courage, and it's a little bit harder to implement, but asking questions, even if you wait till after class or you get there early, or you go see your teacher, after school or during a break, asking questions is so important. It's just definitely how we learn and how you make sense of what's going on. So you may feel at first like you're a little embarrassed, or you're shy, or you don't want to look stupid. Promise you, like, nobody here really believes that. Like, you get bonus points for asking questions. Like, that's how you're going to really take charge of your learning. So find some bravery, or if you're already that kid that asks a lot of questions, good for you. You're going to do great. And for everybody else, maybe another idea is finding a friend to ask it for you until you build your confidence. But asking questions is really important. Again, it's how you're going to make sense of what you're learning. And then it's also okay to make mistakes. Like, we're trying to build, especially from the tech world, an environment where if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. It's going to feel like it, and it's going to hurt, and it's going to feel terrible. But in the end, you have all of your teachers, you have me, we have our student tech team. We have so many people here to help you if mistakes are made, and you're going to recover and learn, and it's all safe. So just know that it is okay to make mistakes, especially if you learn from them. We want to create that safe environment. And I think those are our top tips from the students. This was their brainstorm there. Okay, we're going to round out our session and then have time for questions. I think our timing is doing pretty well. So thanks, everybody. Most use tech tools. We talked a lot about these tonight. Students, you can chime in on anything that you think are standouts, but Google Classroom we mentioned. I have a tutorial on YouTube. If Google Classroom is completely brand new to you and you've never seen this platform before, and that's quite possible because some schools were using Canvas or things like that if you're an older student. So just know that there's a YouTube video that you can watch to kind of get a tour, but you really don't need it. It's pretty straightforward. You'll be fine. Google Slides is a really great tool for, again, making presentations or making posters. We've got some cool hacks for that. So you'll probably see Google Slides used a lot. Docs, Forms, Classlink I mentioned. And then students, anything to add about kind of these other tools that you saw a lot of teachers using last year?
Yeah, over the last year when we were all at home, I used Edpuzzle in 2 of my classes for almost, I would say, half of the assignments were videos and questions, and then we would discuss it in class. So teachers really like to use Edpuzzle. And then also Quizlet. Not only is it great for studying, but you can make, you or your classmates can make study sets and then share it with the class, or you can use other classmates' shared study sets. And it's a really good tool. They have a bunch of different like activities that help you retain information.
Yeah, Quizlet's also good for adults. So any parents listening, I went to a neuroscience camp over the summer to really learn about the intersections between teaching and learning and neuroscience. And I was fascinated by some of the parts of the brain. And I was like, okay, how can I remember the anterior dorsal cortex, or things I've already started to kind of forget. But so I found some Quizlet flashcards so I can practice. Obviously I'm rusty, so I'll practice some more, but really fun. Or I used it for passing a professional exam that I had to study for. So not just for kids. Quizlet is a really great website for all ages. And you all got to experience Padlet, was fun. And we talked about those last 2. Okay, so that's our overview. I'd like to sum up by saying there is a ton of tech in our district, but it all hopefully is like logical and makes sense and fits with what the teachers are trying to create in terms of learning experiences. We have a lot of freedom for our teachers to try new things and experiment. We also are very careful with student data privacy. So any apps or tools that teachers are using, this is for our parents, and some of our students who are concerned about that, know that we have privacy agreements with all of our vendors, and we stay up on that and work really hard to make sure it's a very secure environment. So that's a value that we hold to take care of everything. So okay, I'll pause. Oh, sorry, I got a private message from a student. One tool that students don't like, but parents love, is called GoGuardian. And this is a tool that is essentially a way to kind of help students stay on task in class. So teachers will use GoGuardian and they can see what's on the student screens. What's really cool about this, though, is if you think about it, when a teacher walks around a classroom, they can look over your shoulder and see perhaps where you're stuck or need help. It's essentially what it's designed for. Sometimes it's used to make sure people aren't cheating, but its intent really is to like help learners. So know that that exists. And parents, if you would like a way, so students, you're not going to love this, but parents, if you would like a way to know what your kids are doing on the devices, you can put in a ticket at help.lcusd.net and we can get you the Go Guardian parent app. And so that, again, we're trying to build an environment that students can make those safe mistakes, have some guardrails, and that's all part of it. So the internet should not be wide open for anyone quite yet. You guys have some room to grow and need some boundaries. So know that Go Guardian is a tool we can offer our parents for at home and for our students when they're on campus. All right, let me pause the recording. Any final thoughts? Sam, Enzo, Cole, Grace? Ready for
Was Parent
questions?
Square and kind of Aries covered already for that? I know that was probably in like another letter to, because I was helping my sister. She's sending from me 7th grader.
Yeah,
Get her
Parent
profile
Square,
ready. And there was a list of that.
exactly. Yeah, Parent Square, I'm going to send out specifically to parents, and it's going to be the way you organize all your communication. So it is a hub for all the emails that come from the school. You'll see them in one place, and you kind of, and you'll also do the daily health screener. So that'll be how you check in each day and report out on symptoms. So that I'll send a separate email for that because that's more for the parents to kind of monitor. But thank you for that. Yeah, that's great. That'll be coming. If you haven't tried it already, I'll be sending out communication about that in the next couple of days.
Oh,
Excellent.
and then Remind. That's another app that a lot of classes use.
Yeah, please. Yeah, tell them more about that. As mostly used in the upper grades, but it's a great tool.
Yes, it is mostly used in the upper grades because it's mainly text, I think, or app based on your phone. So, I mean, we do have a lot of upper class people. So it's an app you can install, but it's also your teacher will gather the data needed for this if they choose to use it in the beginning of the class. On your first day, they'll tell you what services really they use or that they're comfortable with. If they do choose Remind, that is a service that allows them to kind of text you different updates and different really any announcements that you may need to get while you're not in school. So I guess, yes, at night. And that's just another really communication tool. But your teacher will explain that to you if they decide to use that.
Great, thank you. All right, let me stop recording and then we'll take Artem's question.